Hey, is that folk music that you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Broomsey, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horses sing on it.
I told you not to enter wild folk dancing.
And the shot rang out. Bang!
Hot dog!
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
The things that make me crazy are the keys to making me sane. Long as I remember the secret to getting rid of my pain. Make peace in mind, your knots unwind, then humankind leave the trouble all behind. I've had a nasty voice inside my head, pushing my buttons and putting me down. Now when I hear that negativity, tell that voice to get out of my crown. And when I feel bad, I find the thoughts behind it all. I convince myself of the opposite, I'm having quite a ball. Make peace in mind, your knots unwind, then humankind leave the trouble all behind. So I relax and I release the need to hold on to bad belief. I write and repeat when I know that will do me good until I feel the relief. Make peace in mind, your knots unwind, then humankind leave the trouble all behind. Make peace in mind, your knots unwind, then humankind leave trouble all behind. Well, howdy folks, and welcome to Horses Sing None of It. My name is Ralph Litwin, your host, and you might wonder why am I playing calypso with a lady in a Renaissance dress on penny whistle here. That's because this is Chris Lamb. Nice to have you on the show, Chris. And Chris plays that penny whistle part on my album. Makes my heart feel happy. But she also happens to be part of this amazing group, the Early Music Players. Ain't that right?
That's right.
And they're going to play some rip-snorting music from what periods is it?
Well, primarily the Renaissance. Let's see, 1600s. So we have a piece from the medieval period a little bit earlier.
Uh-huh.
And
Well,
would you like me to introduce everyone?
yeah, do what you like.
Well, we have Phoebe Larkey, Jean Seiler, Susan Genvik, and Ann Yardley.
Welcome everybody to Horses Sing None of It. Thanks for coming. And
Great to be here.
Our pleasure.
all getting in your get-ups and your unusual instruments and everything. What would you have planned for us now?
Well, we'd like to play now for you a 16th century song, When Daphne from Fair Phoebus Did Fly.
When Daphne from fair Phoebus did fly, the west wind how sweetly did blow in her face. Her silken scarf scarce shadowed her eyes, the glad for pity and held her in chase. Sing, cries of Apollo, tarry and let the sweet nymph stay. Tiger, Daphne, follow, turn my fair eyes and walk this way. Oh, turn, oh, pretty
All right, that was real nice. Now, if these folks out in television land are anything like me, they're saying to themselves, what the heck are those things they're playing?
Well, this one that we're playing is related to that there guitar of yours, Ralph.
Is that right?
It has 6 strings and it has frets, and it's tuned very similarly
Wow.
with fourths between most of the strings and a third between one pair of them. These instruments, the viola da gamba, which means a viol or string instrument of the legs or knees, because as you noticed, all the sizes are held down between the knees. These instruments were very popular in the 15th and 16th centuries and early 17th century. And you use a underhanded grip on the bow as you're playing. And that makes it, of course, it's a very different technique from the cello, which is what you might think it looks the most like of modern instruments.
I was playing recorders. I happened to play 2 sizes of the recorders. Like many of the Renaissance instruments, the recorders came in a family of sizes. I played the bass and the alto, and completing the consort, Anne has a tenor, and here's the soprano. Unlike the voices in a choir, however, the recorders come higher and lower. There's a sopranino and a garcline that Anne's holding. We also have in the group a great bass, and there's a contrabass, but we don't have them with us today.
Wow, that's quite an assortment.
We can demonstrate the sounds of the families of instruments, at least the recorders and the crumhorns, in our next piece, Blow Thy Horn, Hunter. First we'll play on recorders for you, the soprano, alto, and tenor.
Now we're going to play the same piece on 3 crumhorns. And crumhorns look more or less like umbrella handles. And they're very weird instruments because they're double reed instruments, but you don't play on the reed. They're called capped reeds. And instead of getting loud and soft, they get high and low on the same note if you don't blow them right. So,
Wow, that's cool sounding.
One of the things that we like best about this repertoire of music is that it doesn't tell us what instruments should be used. So like much folk music and other music of perhaps that is in Ralph's bailiwick a lot of the time, we get to make some choices about what instruments to use. And after a lot of experimentation, one of our favorite instrumentations for this piece, Blow Thy Horn, Hunter, is to use voice and tenor recorder and tenor crumhorn, and add a little percussion with it on the tabor, which is a Renaissance drum. So we'd like to do that version of it for you now.
Blow thy horn, Hunter, and blow thy horn on high. There is a doe in yonder wood, in faith she will not die. Now blow thy horn, Hunter, now blow thy horn, Charlie Hunter. He to go and I to go, but he ran fast no ford. I bade him shoot and strike the doe, that I might shoot no more. Now blow thy horn, Hunter, now blow thy horn, Charlie Hunter. Here I live and begin, and now all this hunter's war. I think his bow is well, and his bolt may fly no more. Now blow thy horn, Hunter, now blow thy horn, Charlie Hunter.
All right. So I'm curious, how does a group of women like you get interested in this kind of music, which I've never heard anybody play except for you?
Well, it's something that we get dragged into in different ways. I got interested in it in college when one of the first groups to really make a go of it in the United States, the New York Pro Musica, visited and gave a concert near my college. And it happened that the person with whom I studied cello at the time had a whole set of viola da gambas and tried to lure me into learning to play bass. And so I fell for the bait and gradually got hooked more and more into playing this music.
I actually started in high school. I had a group in high school as well as college. A friend and I started out playing recorders together, and gradually our collection grew. The interesting thing is, once you learn one set of fingerings, many of the instruments are very similar enough that we'll go out and try one, like the crumhorn is very similar to. There's some differences that make it frustrating at times too.
I've been a singer for years, and I like singing all different sorts of music. And I guess actually I got into it because one choral director said to me, "You should sing early music." sort of sent me in that direction.
I taught myself to play recorder when I was a teenager, and I had been playing cello, and it was natural that I eventually got led into doing the music that was for those instruments originally. And there's always another instrument we want to get and we want to learn to play, and so the collection has been gradually growing.
I got into it because my husband and I were looking for something we could do together. He still plays for fun, but I got hooked.
Phoebe, by the way, is a founding member of the Early Music Players. We've been in existence since 1972.
Yes.
Yes. The rest of us are mere add-ons.
This
Past
might
10
be
years.
an opportune moment to let people know out there how they can get in touch with you if they want to hire you to play at some shindig or at their library or a concert somewhere.
Well, our official phone number rings in my house, which is area code 201-267-1152 in Morristown, and that's our official address.
Well, great. I think we're going to take a little break now for a public service announcement, and we'll be back with the Early Music Players on Horses Sing None of It in 1 minute.
At the edge of our populous metropolitan area, there is a vast stretch of forested hills, sparkling streams, and breathtaking vistas, home to some surprising wildlife. Here you can discover our nation's history or enjoy outdoor recreation. You can find serenity and space. This place isn't far from you. It's the New Jersey-New York Highlands region. Contact the Highlands Coalition at 201-539-7540 to find out what you can do to protect this resource before it disappears.
He protects all living things in the forest. But he can't do it alone. Please don't play with matches. Put out your campfires. And never, ever forget the words of Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
These people are reducing their risk of heart attack and taking steps toward a healthier life. You can too. For more information, call your American Heart Association and find out how you can help walk away from heart disease.
In anger I must sing, I'm angry as can be. My sweetheart used to love me, but now he is untrue. I love him heart and soul, I love him tenderly. Now don't you think it's clear that he should love me too? I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I'm sweet as can be. I'm courtly and I'm rich, as you can plainly see. Why does he treat me like a stupid, ugly shrew? Why are you so cruel to me? What is this game you play with all the other ladies? You're charming as can be. It just isn't fair of them to steal your heart away. For no one in the court is wonderful as me. You are the greatest of all men, 'tis true, but you've been false to me while I've been ever true. So I am clearly greater, yes, greater even than you.
All right. We call that the humility song.
This song,
What is the name of that tune?
This is a troubadour song called Ashanta, and it's of particular interest because it's the only song by a woman troubadour for which the words and the music have come down to us. There were quite a few women troubadours, and a lot of their poetry has survived, but this is the only piece of music with the words that go with it. And the interesting thing about it, of course, is that while the male troubadours were all singing about the ideal of courtly love, and they were obviously buttering up their patrons a little bit too in the process, and their patrons' wives, the women troubadours tended to write poetry that really told it like it was. And that's certainly true in this song. This is from the 12th century. And we translated it into English because one of the significant things about the troubadour music was that it was in the language of the uneducated people, and people that were hearing the troubadours singing these songs could understand immediately what they were about and enjoy the stories. And we really wanted the people with whom we shared this song to be able to have the same immediate feeling about what's going on.
That's a great story.
I love that song.
The instrument I was playing was a lute, which was very popular in the Middle Ages and Renaissance. And it's basically a 6-course instrument like your guitar. This one has 2 extra bass courses, and all except the top course is strung double, so it looks like it has a lot more strings than you have, but it's the same, it's a similar basic idea. The tuning's a little different too. The third is in a different place.
Okay, the next piece we're going to be doing is called A Round of 3 Country Dances in One. Although the name says round, it's not really a round. It's what's called a quodlibet, which means literally whatever you will or whatever you want. And it has 4 lines that are stacked on top of each other. I'll be singing the first line, which is the ground or bass, which everything else is built on. And then when I move up to the second line, Chris is going to be singing the bass. And then when I move up to the third line, Jean will move into the line that I was just singing. And then finally Anne will move into the line that I was just singing. And I'll move finally up to the top.
Sing after, fellows, as you hear me, a toy that seldom is seen. Sing after, fellows, as you hear me, a toy that seldom is seen. 3 country dances in one to be a pretty conceit, as I ween. 3 country dances in one to be a pretty conceit, as I ween. Robin Hood, Robin Hood, said Little John, come dance before the Queen. Robin Hood, Robin Hood, said Little John, come dance before the Queen. In a red petticoat and a green jacket, a white horse and a green. In a red petticoat and a green jacket, a white horse and a green. The Robin Hood, Robin Hood, says Little John, come dance before the Queen. And Robin Hood, Robin Hood, said Little John, come dance before the Queen. In a red petticoat and a green jacket, a white rose and a green. In a red petticoat and a green jacket, a white rose and a green.
Whoa, that's great. Really good. Well, maybe we can take one more opportunity to let the folks out in television land know how they can get in touch with the early music players, and we can perhaps get it on the screen with a, did we give the number to the person on the computer back there? Okay.
It's in Morristown, and it's area code 201-267-1152.
The early music players. And we've got just basically enough time to thank you all for coming on Horses Sing None of It. The
pleasure to have you and get to hear your music, and it just seemed to flash right by. Almost time to say goodbye, and thanks to the audience out there for tuning in, and we'll hope to see you tune in next week. So, you're going to let me put a bass part on something here.
That's right. Yeah, one more
Not too
piece for
much.
you if you got time.
Is there an introduction to this
Yes.
song?
Well, this piece is called Martin Said to His Man. It's about a drunk fellow, and his friends are telling him what a fool he is making of himself. He sees all sorts of bizarre things, as you will hear.
I need to communicate one more thing to the folks in the back room. We have this highly technical arrangement. I tell them that we have exactly 4.5 minutes left, so they can coordinate their credits appropriately.
Martin said to his man,
Fly, man, fly.
oh, Martin said to his man,
Who's the fool now?
Martin said to his man, fill thou the cup and I the can.
Thou hast well drunk, man, who's the
Well
fool now?
I see a sheep shearing corn.
Fly, man,
I
fly.
see a sheep shearing corn.
Who's the fool
I
now?
see a sheep shearing corn and a cuckold blow his horn.
Thou hast well drunken man, how's the fool now?
I see a man in the moon.
Fly, man, fly.
I see a man in the moon.
Who's the fool now?
I see a man in the moon clouting of St. Peter's shoe.
Thou hast well drunken
Now
man.
who's the fool
I
now?
see a hare chase a hound.
Fly, man,
Man,
fly.
I see a hare chase a hound.
Who's the fool now?
I see a hare chase a hound 20 miles above the ground.
Thou hast well
Drunken man, who's the fool
I
now?
see a goose ring a hog.
Fly, man,
Man,
fly.
I
fly.
see a goose ring a hog.
Who's the fool
I
now?
see a goose ring a hog and a snail bite a dog.
Thou hast well drunken man,
Who's the fool now?
I see a mouse catch the cat.
Fly, man, fly.
I see a mouse catch the cat.
Who's the fool now?
I see a mouse catch the cat and his cheese to eat the rat. Thou drunken man,
Who's the fool
now?
Wonderful. Can we run through that again for the credits?
Sure.
Now that we're all drunk.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just one more
All right.
Are you serious on
Yes.
that?
So we got to run the credits.
Okay.
Martin said to his man,
Fly, man, fly.
oh, Martin said to his man,
Who's the fool now?
Martin said to his man, fill out the cup and I the can.
Thou hast well
Drunken man, who's the fool now?
I see a sheep shearing corn.
Fly, man, fly.
I see a sheep shearing corn.
Who's the fool
I
now?
see a sheep shearing corn and a cockle blow his horn.
Thou hast well
Drunken man, who's the fool
I
now?
see a man in the moon.
Fly, man, fly.
I see a man in the moon.
Who's the fool
I
now?
see a man in the moon clouting a St. Peter's shoe.
Drunken man, who's the fool now?
I see a hare chase a hound.
Man, fly.
I see a hare chase a hound.
Who's the fool
I
now?
see a hare chase a hound 20 miles above the ground.
Well, drunken man, who's the fool
I
now?
see a goose ring a hog.
Man,
I
fly.
see a goose ring a hog.
Who's the fool now?
I see a goose ring a hog and a snail bite a dog.
Well, drunken man, who's the fool
I
now?
see a mouse catch the cat.
Man, fly.
I see a mouse catch the cat.
Who's the fool now?
I see a mouse catch the cat and his cheese to eat the rat.
Thou hast well drunken man,
who's the fool
now?
Thanks for being on Horse to Sing None of It. Pleasure to have you.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
More? Anybody know a joke?
We'll play a little harmonica tune for us to finish. us off.
Okay. Well, I went down to the old cornfield and a black snake grabbed me by my heel. I turned around for to do my best, stuck my head in a hornet nest. Turkey in the straw, ah ha ha! Turkey in the hay, what you say? A bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, sang a little tune called Turkey and Straw.
tape, and that's the end of the show.
Another epic episode of Tweety's Global Patrol.
Global Patrol, please hold. Global Patrol, Tommy, wrong number. Uh-oh. Help! Help! Putting that away. Take me! And while you're at it, reduce. Reuse. And recycle. Ooh, that putty tat recycles till it hurts. We can make a difference.